Hope you're all doing really well today, this Monday, bank holiday in the UK, 25th of August. Tell you what, Christmas is not long round the corner, is it? So I hope you're all doing really well today. Just if I can adjust this, yeah. I hope you're all doing really well today. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I loved the show last night. I thought the show last night was therapy. I thought it was really, really good to sort of talk about all the stuff that was going on yesterday after the actual awfulness that was the United game yesterday. So for me, it was really important. One of the things I will say, Danny B, welcome to the chat, my friend. So one of the things I will start off by saying is, yes, last night's show for me was brilliant. Really, really needed that to talk about it. To get people into the chat, to have opinions. It's like therapy for me to talk about this stuff. It really helps when you don't react after a game, then you come back on, a couple of hours after, and you start talking about it, and then you sort of. Steffi says good afternoon. So for me, last night's show was brilliant. It genuinely put me in such a better mood and such a better place last night. Being able to get your opinions out, being able just to get that stuff out of your system that if you didn't talk to somebody, I just, that's why I love to do these shows, and that's why, for me, as I say, utter therapy. So if you're new to the channel, feel free to get into the chat. This chat is amazing. I'll always say that this chat is one of the best on the platform. Absolutely logical. We give each other respect. Even in this dire time that we all sort of predicted, or we all have our opinions on. And the one thing that I will say, good afternoon, Scott, my friend, is that come into the chat, be respectful to the chat. I don't mind different supporters coming into the chat, which they always do. As long as you're respectful, I don't mind the banter. But there are rules here, and obviously, if you misbehave, then it's really easy to block you. And I don't like doing it. I absolutely don't like blocking people. I'm not a dictator of the chat. I like people to have their views. We don't always have to agree, but I think it's really, really important that we all have our views. So today's show, I wanted just to go over what's out there now, because there's going to be so much spin out there. There's going to be so much different things out there, and I think we need to cut through all of the crap and basically see where we are. So overnight, what I did see last night, and I'll probably lead with this and not the Mainoo stuff, was exactly, Scott. Spin. So what I started seeing last night was the Baleba stuff again. So from Indicator again, I'm going to say these sources because I think it's really important for us to. There are people who don't necessarily know or come to know these people may believe it. Ross Harwood as well, who I've said has been good. He's starting to annoy me slightly with some of the crap he's coming out with as well. And I think it's really good to cut through the stuff. So the Baleba stuff is starting to come out again. And this is on Indicator, this is on Ross Harwood, this is on a couple of other bits and pieces that I've seen. Just a load of other outlets and a load of other platforms, and basically a lot of obviously is to do with the response yesterday, which in my opinion, that we all knew that this was coming. We all knew the spin was coming. We all possibly knew the panic buy was coming. We all know and knew that United sell headlines. So where we are, this is where I think that we are on Baleba. Now, obviously, give you an example, Indicator. Now, I think they're a load of crap. They broke the Bruno stuff. They did the most ambiguous, exclusive. Apparently, they got this exclusive and all this crap. Utter nonsense. So apparently, United now are going to go in for Baleba. And if that's died, I think that's died. Let me change over. Let me go. Let me change over. See where we are. Right, cool. Right, should be back now. I think that's back. Stephanie says like, subscribe, comment, I just have this is a great channel. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. It means so much to me when people come onto this channel and they like the channel. Just get in here for the community, because this community is amazing. So I'm going to put it out there to you. Where do you think we are with this stuff? So to me, the Baleba stuff, I think, is lazy. I think he's proper lazy. I think that maybe his head has been turned. He was taken off at half time in the Brighton game, and people are putting two. And this is the problem now. Until the transfer window shuts, there's going to be so much. Exactly. He did get subbed off. Now you can look at this a couple of ways, right? So let's look at it from a logical perspective. Is number one, right? We need a centre midfielder, right? Exactly. They're just putting two and two together. So let's look at it, right? Because people are going to have the different opinions, and I think we almost need to go over the sort of options and logically talk about this. So number one, he came off yesterday at half time. We don't know the reasons. There's going to be speculation. He might just be injured. He might have had his head turned, and basically what Brighton might be trying to do is go, look, kid, let's get the window shut, and then you can get your head focused back in the game, and maybe you can move next season. Okay. Or maybe there is something in it. What we love to do, particularly at every season, we treat the first 3 games as if it's pre-season, and then we're awful, and then we go and panic. By now, you could probably think, and it wouldn't surprise me if we panic bought. Now, some of the things that are coming out as well, and this is why we need to cut through this crap, is that the credit facility thing is coming up again. The PSR thing is coming up again. The FFP thing is coming out again, on the basis that all these outlets, what they're doing is they're putting it out there for clicks. So what they're doing is they're basically saying, instead of saying, right, like I'm going to say it on here, and I'll just be open myself up, right? They're saying exactly, Scott. It is clickbait, and what they do is they're seasoned veterans at it. Is they go, he might be coming. I think he will be coming, but actually, do you know what? He may not be coming this season. So there's always they never go, he's definitely coming. The exclusive is that he's coming, and that's all. Like, that's it. Now I give Ross Harwood his dues. He come out and basically said that he's maintained this Baleba stuff is happening. I'll be fair to him, even though he's I think he's not right. I think he maybe he did have a little inroad track, but he's kind of been on about it for a long time, and I think he kind of needed to come out. And Scott says, there is always if, but, and maybe. Exactly. Now I'll be fair to Scott Harwood. He was right on the Shesko stuff. He was right on the Baleba timeline, but and he's come out, and it's all there basically saying that he's going to come. So he's going to live and die on that, and I respect that, right? But it's there's so many outlets out there like Indicator who reckon they literally got an exclusive every single day, right? So for what it's worth, this is my opinion on it, right? Is the most regular are feeding off scraps. Exactly, Danny B. The only people that get anything concrete are Fabrizio, so Jacobs, so Ben Jacobs. Fountain of Tales, how are you? I'm very, very well, my good friend, and I hope you're well too. And Ornstein. But so Ben Jacobs, he gets stuff, but he also what he does is he quote tweets as well. So he will quote Ornstein, Fabrizio. So he's a really good lad. James, welcome, my friend. So I'll be fair to Ben. Even though he does get stuff and he's very good on Qatar, even he doesn't get it, and even he will quote tweet, and he's such a respectful guy. So I respect him as well. But as you say, Indicator are just a load of it indicated last comment got him blocked with me. Never listen to a thing he says. Exactly. I think it's a load of nonsense. I think it's an absolute pile of crap. So where I am with the Baleba stuff is it possible? Yes. We're a panic buying club, and anything is possible at this start of the season. However, we went in £55 million as an opening bid. Why are we going to go in now with 120 million? It's just not going to happen. It's just, is it impossible? No. Will it happen? No. We will not go in with 120 million pounds. Not, and this is what I'm hoping for, is that Ineos can actually see that money can be spent better elsewhere. As much as he'd be a great signing, as much as I think he'd be good, I think what is abundantly clear to me now, and I'd be a hypocrite, when I'm slating Delo, I'm slating Luke Shaw, I'm slating Mount. We need 3 players, so I would much prefer to take that money and split it. Stephanie says if he managed to pull off Baleba, he played alongside Fernandez, would improve but still be weak. Right wing back concerns me too. Midfield quartet is too light. Stephanie, I agree with you, but I think Fernandez for me is too ill-disciplined, as he showed yesterday. I mean, the guy got put off by a goalkeeper, by a referee, like as he walked by him, and he happened like to nudge Bruno. Bruno's got a problem. He's got an attitude problem, and the way that he moves on that pitch, the way that he is right now, he's just a petulant child. So we need 2 in there. Bruno can't go, and we definitely need 2 in there. He still wouldn't work out. We have to be Mainoo and Baleba. I would agree with that. Fernandez, he does need to go. Love him or hate him, yeah, I agree with you. We need to get more. We absolutely do. Tully says Baleba was replaced at half time. Agreed. So I don't think Baleba's coming. Would I like him? Yes. But for me, he goes into a more complete team. He doesn't fix this team. He doesn't fix. I think we're very naive, and I'm not saying that you are. I think that everyone's entitled to their opinion. Is that we spoke about that at the start of the show. Exactly. I think that we'd be very naive if we think that Baleba is going to come in and fix this mess. Who's going to fix Luke Shaw? We need another wing back. We need Mason Mount. I mean, Mason Mount for me, he's a good squad player. Fernandez needs to go, so we need 2 centre midfielders. I think we're okay with number 10. We need another centre back, and we need a right wing back just to start. So for me, I think Baleba for me, I would leave that deal. I think we had a chance to do it. Chip Play says, hi JB, welcome to the chat, legend of the chat as always. So I think Baleba is worth to mention, because we're going to see lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff coming out in the next couple of days, and I think from a logical perspective we just need to cut through all that and go, look, it's not going to happen. So for me, Baleba is not going to happen. Will it surprise me if we do it? No. Do I think we will? No. So let's get on to Mainoo. So Mainoo, what is going on with Mainoo now? A load of comments out there that basically Mainoo is fighting with Fernandez for that number 8 position. Now, if this is true, Mainoo's going to lose, because this obsession with Fernandez. So Bruno and Mainoo for me are linked. Okay, they're linked. Now this is the bit that I don't understand. Ruben needs time to stop the bias. If Mainoo come on for Bruno, then he might have seen out the win. Possibly. I don't disagree with that, but this is where I'm at on it. So, as I've said before, and this is the bit that I don't get, right, is that so with our CMs, and I'll go like over this again, right? And I've spoken to people on this. I've spoken to people that have followed his career. I've read it as well. That Amorim, in his CMs, he doesn't like a number 6 and a number 8. What he likes is 2 CMs that run up and down. Say it says the eternal. Say, mate, this is my friend. This is not the place for that, my friend. So see you later. I mean, I respect beliefs. People can believe in whatever they like, but that's not for this channel, and that's not for here. Emma says Italy or France. In what respect? Football, nice countries, wine, cheese, meat. Give me a little bit more than that, my friend. Tensai says Fernandes should be on the bench if he didn't perform at first half. Play Mount and Mainoo instead. Shesko up top. What do you think? Now, yes, I do agree with Fernandes. Mason Mount can't play in that midfield, my friend. I like these chats because I'm right now I'm very stuck on my opinion on Mason Mount. Not because I think that you guys are wrong, but Mason Mount for me is not a midfielder. He's barely a number 10. Mason Mount can play in that box, right? In that 2x2, 3x3 box. He can't be a number 6. He can't be a number 8. Mason Mount, at the moment, I would say he's deceiving. He's flattering to deceive. And what I mean by that is he does a couple of good things, right? He plays really well with the balls to his feet. He does these good little flicks. He does these good little, like, when he gets the ball, he's very good at being able to wriggle away from a defender and pass it off, right? What he reminds me of is Juan Mata at the end. When Juan Mata couldn't really run anymore and used to give him that ball in that space between the centre circle and the opponent's box, and he would play in that box and he would be able to just to spray some passes through. Mason Mount is not a high energy, frenetic, intensive footballer, because he can't be. He absolutely cannot be. And that's not because I don't want him to be. Maybe he can be, but for me, Mason Mount is not a first team player. Yes, I've not seen. He doesn't do anything. And what I mean is that imagine if you've got somebody, who runs around the pitch all day, right? But he runs around, he gets balls, but he doesn't actually do anything. He doesn't set up chances. He doesn't increase the play. For me, Mason Mount is a squad player that is a lively player that you can bring on against a lesser team, or he starts against like a Grimsby, but he doesn't play in those big games. And again, he's another player for me, and another example where Amorim, his obsession with him is gonna split him in this fan base. Against Burnley, we could play Mainoo, bring him in a pivot, but we'll have 75 possession. In general, to be honest with you, I have no. In terms of a country, Italy or France, I like them both. I couldn't pick one. I mean, if we're talking in terms of country, I've been to France more times. I've got family in France. Italy, I've been there a couple of times as well. I like their food. I can't genuinely couldn't pick between the two countries. If I did have to pick, I'd only pick France because it's closer and you can get there a little bit quicker. 2 games, played 2 goals, conceded inside 6-0, but exactly. For me, Manchester United ruined the youngest player. Which one? You need to give me context. You need to give me some context. Which player? So just give me context. I need to know the player, and then we can talk about that. I agree with you, Scott. I think that Bruno has been awful in the last. Bruno's been terrible for the last 18 months, and I'm not seeing any change in him whatsoever. In fact, I think against against Fulham, I think that was the worst performance I think I've ever seen him do. Not just because I thought his overall play was awful, just his attitude his attitude for me absolutely stinks, and for me, I just don't know what we do with him. I think Kobbie starts on Wednesday. Mount reminds me of Lingard, which is yeah, I get that. I do actually. He's definitely got a better IQ. I think I like Mason Mount. To be clear on this one, right? I like Mason Mount, but I think his injuries have just shortened his career, and he can't do the same things that he did. And I like him. I liked him as a player. I just don't think he's going to get there. I hope he does, but I just don't think he will. Xerxes at Bologna was very good. Emma, I don't think you've ruined Xerxes. I don't think we've played him enough. He has been injured. He has been good though. I do feel sorry for players who came into the team last season. I don't think Xerxes was an amazing player. You know, I like the Italian league. I do. It's always and if you've heard me before talking about it, I used to love that league. You know, I even still I've got a soft spot for that league. But it's easy for players to look good in Serie A than it is in the Premier League, and it's just a different league. It's not because I'm going to insult the league. It is just a different way, and it's just a different pace league. And it's very, very difficult to come into the Premier League, and it's very, very difficult to come into this toxic club. We're getting better, but I think he's very, very. I don't disagree, but I don't think he was a very, very good player. I thought he was a good player, but he's not ruined just yet. So, Blue Edits, hi mate. I hope you are well, my friend. Xerxes, the penalty is still rising. United's win goes down by 20%. I agree, my friend. How about Amrin play 4-3-3 or 4-5-1? It's hard to play 2 versus 3 in midfield and playing Amrin as wing back make our defence. I think that I would go, if I was him, until he's got his players, I would go with 4 at the back, 3 in midfield. I'd probably go actually with so what I would do is I'd go with a 4 and I'd go 2 centre backs, a left back, a right back. I'd go with a defensive midfielder, a centre midfielder, a cam, and then maybe you go a striker, and then maybe you kind of sort of have those, I don't know how many that is, and then you could still have those two number 10s, but the 2 number 10s are kind of, they split a bit more, and then a striker. So I think a cam, I think Bruno as a cam would work more. So you almost take out a defender and you put in a defensive central midfielder next to a centre midfielder, and then you play Bruno as cam, and I think that would work better. Ahmad should just take Mount's place because he's a scorer. I agree. Labawi says, I was totally surprised with the starting lineup. It was pretty much the same match, but want to try to find out which plays work at the beginning of the season. I agree with you. Xerxes versus Arsenal in the FA Cup, that's true. Sesko, Mainoo, Ugarte will start on Wednesday, 4-3-3 or 4-1-2-1-2. I don't disagree. Clearly had 80 million to spend on Baleba. Just sign the man's Agume or Stiller. With that money, ASAP will drop into any points exactly. So, Mainoo. Here's my take on Mainoo. I don't think Mainoo's going anywhere. Again, I just think it's paper talk trying to... Do I think there is probably some rumour about it? Liam Mill says, hi. Hello, my friend. What about Lamens? Lamens is coming. Lamens is coming. And they're just... I think the problem is that because Antwerp put up the price a bit, I just think that we're just... I think we're still trying to negotiate it down slightly, but he's coming. He's going to be announced. Today's bank holiday, Monday, tomorrow or Wednesday. I think it could be for the Grimsby game, possibly, but Le Mans is coming. It is coming. I think we're doing our usual. We thought it was one price. They've taken it up a notch. So I think that we're trying to negotiate a price. So let's see. I like how you hear our others' opinions. I like Mike Cobridge, who has disrespected people in live, saying anything he doesn't agree with to offend them. Mate, this is basically what we do on here, right? Is that I get it in some respects. I mean, that platform is huge, and you I guess you can't hear every single voice out, right? I'm not a dictator, and what I will always say, irrespective of how big we get or how small we are, if we remain small, if we get big, one of the things that's really important to me, and always will be the core of what I try to do, is that people need to have their opinion. And even if I come back at it, doesn't mean I'm disrespecting the opinion. If I'm asked a question, I will respond to that question. Or even if I don't agree with something that I read, I will come back on that, right? Doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean that I'm trying to force you to change your opinion. But as a fan base, we're not heard enough. And these channels and mine have to give people the opportunity to get their frustrations out. So like the show last night, I was frustrated, right? I got my frustrations out. You guys got your, and this is then what we do. We're then able to together. We know that we've got each other's backs, even if we don't agree with what we say. Ultimately, we're all striving towards the same goal. And for example, some of you may see something that I don't see. And I almost need you guys, in some respects, to cover my butt, because then if you're saying to me, oh, look, I think Mount's this amazing player, you give him another 4 games and it will be amazing. And I'm like, no. But you're covering my back. Then in 5 games time, you go, see, we said it. So it's almost that we're covering like everyone's back, but we've got to have each other's back. But there's nothing wrong in having a difference of opinion, because we all watch football and see things in a completely different way. And for me, it's really, really important that when you have your opinions on here as well, that you're able to have your opinion without people screaming you down. Of course, people are going to banter and disagree with that, but I think this community is very, very good at being respectful towards each other. Blue, I am a member of the United Stand. He goes off on people if they don't have the same. And I can never be like that. Never be like that, my friend. Agume, 30 mil, exactly. Mainoo is calm and composed on the ball. Bruno's engine, he'd be perfect instantly. Mainoo should start. I agree. Mainoo, sorry. I like the new midfielder from Atletico Madrid. We need a hybrid. I agree. Autocorrect come off my phone. Homeland Steeler, Agume, who do you think will complement us better? Tensor, I think at this moment in time, I think Agume for me. That's what I think. As I said before, Amrin doesn't, and this for me is the conundrum on this one, right? Is this right? Only 23 watching, 8 likes, exactly. Give us a like, give us a subscription, just give us a like. Get in this amazing community. I genuinely will give you a voice. If you want a voice, come here. We will all, on this channel, you will get your opinion in, and if I can, I will happily read your opinions out. So Baleba, Tonali would be perfect. No place for Fernandez. I think you're right on that, my friend. I think we have to just come to the realization that for this season, Fernandez is going to stay, unless we do something crazy, which I don't think we will. Baleba, and I agree with that. I think that's for next season, 100%. Mapuku Puga, and I apologise if I pronounce your name wrong. Get me Camavinga and Baleba and sell all our midfield. I'd keep Mainoo. Probably Ugarte as a utility player for now. But Camavinga for me, yeah, 100%. Would I get him? if it was Camavinga and nobody else, yes. But there's something about Camavinga for me that he's still young. But if Real Madrid want to sell him, for me there's something wrong, and I wouldn't go anywhere near that deal. But in principle, yes, the Camavinga. When the manager says concentration at one match, I thought he would change tactics in the play depending on who we face, but no, another one-trick pony. And we can go into that as well because there are concerns for me. Humland has never. He has an Arsenal tattoo. If that's the case, mate, then he can do one. We spread the toxicity of fans from other channels. Yeah, on here, I don't think we do. I think we try to do the opposite of that, and that's what I really hope we do. What is your opinion on Bruno's penalty and his attitude? Liam Mills, I think his penalty was atrocious. One of the worst. His body language, mate. He doesn't want to be here. I don't understand why he didn't go. He doesn't want to be here. The problem with Fernandes now is I think that he realises he's not the be all and the end all. It's the Bruno show. And how can you react when a referee walks beside you and, okay, there was a tiny bit of impact, and then it goes... He's more concerned about that, misses the penalty, then stews in it for half an hour, and then comes back and he's still moaning about it. Bruno, for me, is done. It's too many things now. Like, I will still support him whenever he plays, but I will criticise him after. He's done. Bruno's done. His attitude is disgusting. He is not a captain. He's just not my captain at all. His attitude stinks. I just don't know what is wrong with the guy. He's supposed to be the captain, and he's impacting this team. He's spreading this negativity. Amorim, if he wants to get any credibility back, unlike a Ten Hag, he needs to drop him. He needs to show him. Fergie would do it. Any manager of any credibility and who wants to be taken seriously would drop his captain. And that's, in my opinion, what he needs to do. In Amorim, we trust. Camavinga is injury prone. Exactly. Ugarte makes me nervous when his head's gone. Yeah, I agree with that. Personally, 4-3-3 tiki-taka seems perfect for this squad. I think that counter-attack, mate. I don't like it, but I think this team's so used to that they counter-attack FC, and I think that is all they can do. Maybe not so much Cunha. Maybe not so much some of the newer players, but we still got to realise this team finished 15th last season. We need, even if we go to Burnley, let's just say we go to Burnley and we smash them 7-0. That's not going to happen, by the way. We have to then, as a fan base, go, right, we've won a game. What can we do in the next game? This is what we need to start doing, and we need to realise what these players have fooled us time and time again. Not anymore. Jamie Vargas, legend of the chat. What do you think about Adam Wharton of Palace as a midfielder? We ended winning the tournament 5-0 all the way from Dallas. Yes, my friend. Yes, but I think we need two midfielders. I think we need two. Fernandes being in this team, and we are going to suffer with him being in this team. We need two midfielders, but if it's Wharton or nothing, I'd have Wharton as well, but he's going to be very, very expensive. We just need another midfielder in there, 100%. The Lit will be on its captain, I hope so. The Pentiment was really swung. Eyes are rolling as it sounds. Frankie could be transformative for United. I'm not going to roll my eyes at that one. De Jong, I think that time has passed. I think he would have been a very brave deal to do at the time, but I think De Jong is not right now. I think that there's so many different things that need to be changed. I think if we can change the attitude of these players, and then you start to bring in people like that, I think it's a fair point. We chased him, but I think that dream has gone. I agree. We do need a Roy Keane in this team. Bruno doesn't have the cat blue. I've been saying this, mate, for a long, long time. I stayed up to 3:30 to watch the nightmare. Detection, and this is why for me, mate, this is what bugs me the most, right? Is that players like yourself, people like yourself, doesn't matter what time you stay up, right? You invest 2 hours in this team. You stay up to 3:30, and they cannot be bothered. Fernandes cannot be. He's more interested in his own, just in himself, rather than playing for the fans. Amorim is more interested in proving himself right and putting a team out there that can win a match. This is what absolutely bugs me. It's time for the coach to gain balls and take off Bruno. He's had a stinking game. I agree with you, my friend. That's 2 stinkers now. I would absolutely take him off. There aren't any real keens. VVD is the closest. Liam Mills, what do you think of Amorim's body language? I'm very concerned. Liam, the fact he couldn't watch a penalty, the fact he can't watch a penalty, the fact he can't watch a free kick, the fact he can't watch a corner, red flags to me. I'm Amorim him. I want to give him time. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But there's so many things that I'm seeing now that it worries me. It worries me how he's behaving. His body language to me is that of a coach who knows that when he goes 1-0 down or when his team starts not playing well, he knows what's about to come in. So, and it all starts from him as well. So, Amorim is starting to worry me. It's still very, very early. I think we just need to keep an eye on it. And he worries me that he doesn't trust Bruno and CM. He hasn't got any. Exactly. They keep debating us, playing every 10 games and making us think that they're improving. Bluehead, this is what they do every single season to every coach. This is the 2nd season now, and these players are down in tools again. I not all of them, but it's the Luke. Is it any surprise? It's the same players that are doing it. Fernandes, Luke Shaw. These are the players that I've done so many managers in, and they're doing it again. Gyökeres scored 2 times. He did, Arda. He did. Gyökeres didn't play very well, but that's the sign of a good striker. But the difference is Gyökeres is playing. Gyökeres is being given time to play. He's given 90 minutes each game to play. No, he's being played into form, and Amorim's not playing Šeško into form. He reminds me very much of Ten Hag in what he's doing. Rasmus for 35, I hope so. On the plus side, the future of our attack looks good. Yeah, I agree. Cheeto, Rooney, JJ, Abramovich. I think Arsenal can shut this season. Arda, I think Arsenal will play themselves into form. I've not been impressed by them so far, but the second half will show improvement. So I think they probably will. They've won 2 games. The mark of a potential champion is you'll know how to win games even if you're not playing well, and Arsenal are definitely showing that so far. I feel sorry for the people who played there. Hard-earned cash to watch that shit show. Yeah, I agree. I think the match-going fans, the away support, I think they do such an amazing thing to go home and away. They must be so disappointed. They must be so... The expectations so high, and they must be on the floor. I genuinely don't know how they do it. They spend their money, their hard-earned money, and these players just cannot be bothered. What on Basumo for now, mate? Don't think so. Anything for me, anything for me, mate. He is better than what I think we've got. I think Mainoo needs to retire. I do. Play for the crest in the front, not for the name on the back. The club is bigger than any player out there. I couldn't sum it up better. Right? There have been players who've actually died playing for this club. There are players who have, who were run through walls for this club, who know what playing for this club means. And at what point did we lose that? You know, at what point did we get an accumulation of players who all they care about is money? No respect for themselves, no respect for their careers. I'm hoping that we're now starting to move from that. But Fernandes, for me right now, is epitomising that. He's not playing for the badge, he's playing for himself. He's playing because he thinks he's right. No, everyone else is wrong. And you know, even the fact he's not even putting balls to the two new players, for me, he's epitomising to me right now everything that's wrong of the past. This is why he needed to go. United need to be like the new Madrid about condition. I hope so, my friend. Bruno, Amorim keeps him off field. He's Portuguese and totally respected as a leader and an ally. If Jim wanted to sack Amorim, he'd probably ask Bruno. Do you know what? I think that's a really valid. Point. You know, I genuinely do. I think that's a really valid point. I never thought about that before. I think that's a really good point. You know, the fact that imagine you've got someone who's been at the club for all this time, and then Amorim needs an ally, and Bruno is that ally. I think that you've actually maybe found one of the reasons why there. I think that's a really intelligent comment to say. Actually, I've never thought about that before, and I think that's a really good point. I do. Just need to get them all on the ball. Gyökeres moves like he can only run in straight lines. J-Ray says Gyökeres has a good midfield behind him as well. That's the difference. Exactly. He's got 3 behind him, hasn't he? Bramwell says Valverde, Abu, well done for the job for me. I see United forward. Yeah. United have about 20 explosive minutes in them to score the first goal. After that, exactly. We can't be 20 minutes FC and then have nothing left, because it's just not going to work, is it? I just don't get it. Me. I agree with that. It's more or less the end of the transfer. Do you think? Yes, I do. I really do. I really do. I think we could panic by somebody. So Mainoo, for me, what I've said on Mainoo quickly is I don't know what Mainoo's. If I was Mainoo, I think I'd be questioning. I would be, there's a new contract. I would be pushing for a loan move. I'd be saying, look, if I'm not playing, if he's fighting against Fernandes, he's not going to get into this team. And this is what I was saying before. The puzzling thing for me is I've spoken to sporting fans. I've read a ton of stuff. And how Amorim plays his CMs is he has 2 CMs in the pivot. They both go up and down, and he doesn't really care about how defensive they are. What he cares about is, can they get up and down the pitch? How athletic are they? Yes, he maybe has one who's a bit more defensive and tackles and can bring the ball forward in terms of that. And yes, he does have one, but they should be playing up and down between the box to box, and that's what he likes. So I'm puzzled why Mainoo cannot get into this team. It doesn't matter if he's similar to Bruno. All that matters is that he can carry the ball, he can tackle, he can get up and down that pitch. So this is what I'm really confused. I'm quoting Amorim here, and this is his system that he's been playing, is I don't understand why Mainoo is in competition with Fernandes. He shouldn't be. Mainoo can play on his own next to Fernandes. Now, the problem with that, it doesn't matter who plays against Fernandes, because Fernandes is not a number 8. Fernandes is disciplined. That's not his position. If Amorim doesn't sort this out, there are many of you in here over the last couple of days have been saying, maybe he's not the guy. He's not, he's not the coach that we thought he was. I'm going to stress this, right? I am Amorim in for a number of reasons, right? Is that I don't think he's been given a fair crack of the whip. He's inherited players that are not his. He hasn't had players who are his. He's having to work wonders with these players that are here. It's not his fault. He's not having his players. However, there are players in this team that shouldn't be in this team, and what is on him is how he picks his team, the players who are in there, and how can he adjust to, like, how can he coach this team to win matches. I know his system, and that's what he wants to play. But what I cannot deny, categorically cannot, is that he picks this team, and he's a coach. He needs to coach this team. You know, I think he can coach this team to wins. It might not be pretty, but if he wants to survive, and I don't agree with survival football, but if he wants to rebuild this team in his image, he needs another season. He needs to get to another season, irrespective of what plays he's got. I feel really, really badly for him, but a good coach will be able to tweak his system and get his players in. Like playing Bruno at a number 8, that's not Fernandez's choice. That is the coach's choice. To get in 2 number 10s, I'm sure he had an input in that as well. Why has he got 2 number 10s? Him not playing a Mainoo. Mainoo is not worse than a Casemiro or an Ugarte. Give him a game. Like, I don't understand. What's baffling me are the decisions playing a Luke Shaw and Mason Mount. His obsession with these players is going to destroy him. And I am not up for that. I do not want him sacked. But my opinion is he's going to sack himself. And it's going to be so frustrating and saddening for me, because I don't want to get rid of this coach. But he's going to sack himself. He's going to absolutely sack himself. It's more or less the end of the... Martin, I think we could do. So John says, play Bruno at 10 next to Cunha. And why did he sign Mbeumo? John, that's exactly, my friend, exactly what I don't get. I don't get it. I really don't. I thought we bought 2 number 10s because Amrin thought Fernandez was going to leave. I think that Bruno was always going to stay. I think, as Cold on here said, I think he needs an ally, so I think he's kept him in. I think that's a really, really good point. Stephanie says, surely central midfielders need to be competent defensively and head the ball. Exactly. I think Amrin needs 2 all-round centre midfielders who can basically head the ball, can tackle, can pass a little bit, can get up and down the pitch, but then you can then go, okay, well, what I then want is maybe I want somebody who's a bit more defensive, who can actually tackle. You both need to header. You both need to do all the simple things, right? Pass for 5 yards, win that ball, be easy on the ball, and then loads and loads of midfielders, and then maybe you then go, okay, fine. Maybe I want somebody who's slightly a bit more attacking. Maybe somebody who can track back a bit more and win that ball back. But we don't have any of those at all. Changing managers, I agree with you, Gregory. What we're going to keep doing is buying players for a manager, selling the manager, and buying more players. This is what we keep doing, and this is why I'm hoping that Ineos can stick with him, but Amrin doesn't get as much time as he likes. If he's 8 from 8, so I predicted 8 points from 8. I don't see how he survives that. I just don't. Academy team still don't play Amrin's formation systems. Do you think that shows lack of trust in him? No, I don't, Cold Logic. And I should tell you for why it doesn't. I think it does slightly show a lack of confidence in the system, but I think, in my opinion, is that we've been caught out, right? I think we need to bring players through who can play in different systems. Because the problem is, imagine if you can only play in a Ten Hag system, and then you have to go to an Amrin system, you then have to learn a new system. But if you're more of an all-round player, and it takes you, let's just say you're taught in a different way, right? And you can play a 4-3-3, a 5-2-2-1, but you're more broad. I think it takes less time than to train you in another system, as opposed to just playing in a rigid 4-4-2 or 5-3-2-1-1. So I think I do agree with that, but how can these players then come in and learn the system? So I'm somewhere in between lack of trust, but I do think it's right that these players need to learn a lot of systems. The Fulham coaching players were shit posting about overloading our midfield. The heck, exactly. Everybody knows. I don't understand why Amarin doesn't know this. This is why, mainly for me, cannot be sold. If he's sold, then I'm telling you now, Amarin is just not going to last. I just don't. Amarin will not last. If it continues in this way, I just don't see like how he lasts. Only if Park was 20 years younger, I agree. So Binder got bullied. Can't understand why he doesn't just stiff arm people. Those corners, mate, I was absolutely dreading it. Every corner, I think it was 4 corners, no man's land. Stick an elbow out. Just do something. Niche fan, legend of the chat, JB, this is a joke. At Valencia, Neville had a better record after 28 games than Amarin. He was branded the worst manager ever. What does that make Amarin? Niche fan, you make a good point. I can't. How can anybody argue with that logic? You can't, right? So I think you make a good point. I mean, the problem that we've got now, I don't know if Valencia had the same issue, is that when do we go enough is enough? Like, our cycle is, we get a manager in, we get a bunch of players, he gets sacked. The next manager has those players, then he then has to recycle those players, get some more players, can't get rid of those players. So we're a mishmash of these players. At what point do we go? We need to suffer. We need to suffer more than 2 seasons, more than 3 seasons. And Niche fan, I can't argue with your logic, mate. I can't do it. But you look at Valencia, you look at what happened to them. You look at what's happened to us over 13 years. I don't like using Arsenal as an example because, I don't. But they stuck with Arteta and you sort of look what's happened there. No, I'm not saying that we should use that example. And I'm not saying that Arteta needs to get away with things scot-free. But for me, at what point do we just go, look, let's stick with this. We're not going down. What's he supposed to do with these players? This is my point. If you look at the players that he signed, Adorgu, fantastic player, fantastic player, right? Shesko, we don't know. Cunha is a great player, and Bermo, a great player. So the players that he signed, they're perfectly fine. But the other players finished 15th, and that's not on him. That is not on him. The final is, but that isn't on him. So at what point do we go, no, we need to give him another cycle of players? I think as a fan base, we need to criticise him because we know more than he does. Or we need to criticise him, critique him, and if he then still doesn't do the right thing, then he's going to sack himself. And that is what's going to happen. I think as a fan base, as long as we are supportive, we don't have to like what we see. We don't have to just blindly support him and go, you're the best guy and, you can lose here and there. No, that's not what I mean. It's as long as we back him and we do the right thing and back him, if he then sacks himself, then that's on him. That's not on us. But I can't call for another manager to be sacked when there's too many things that are not his fault just yet, in my humble opinion. Danny B, Spurs squad didn't need time to adjust. I agree, Danny, but at the same time, with Spurs, can I justify it? I don't think I can, mate. I don't think the Spurs squad is full of as many toxic players as us. Is it easier to mould the Spurs squad? Possibly. But am I blinkered here? This is my question to you, right? It's an open question here. Am I blinkered because I don't want to sack another coach? This is where maybe I let myself down and I let my heart rule my head, right? It's that I know I'm not seeing good stuff from this coach, right? But I don't want to sack another manager, and maybe that's blinding me. Maybe it is, and I will hold up my hands, with that. But I also don't think he's getting the players that he needs. So, right now I'm in a limbo state, but I still want to stick with this guy just yet. AFCON will decimate our right hand side. Who do you think will play in the right 10? Xerxes, Mount, Mainoo, or Bruno? I think Bruno's going to be in that number 8, so I think will be Xerxes or Mount. I think will be Mount. I think it'll be such a mistake. But I think he'll play Mount. I do. He's got this thing with Mount, and I don't know why, but yeah, I think he's Mount. Big up to JB. Welcome, my friend. Rob, legend of the chat. Say football for an edit. Say footballer for an edit. Say footballer for an edit. Footballer for an edit. I agree with JB. The remedy is to stay the course. Code logic. If we use Chelsea method, every new manager could take their pick from 200 players in the book. Exactly. Vaughan says we need to stop leaking goals. These lesser Prem teams have our number in the midfield. Just wait for our press, knowing this is a void to fill. Exactly, Vaughan, mate. I don't think this is a. It's a difficult one, is it? It's plugged that midfield. I think we should go to a back four. I do. I think Amron's being stubborn. I think we should go to a back four and play 3 in the midfield. Get a defensive midfielder in there and then play 2, and then I think we'll be better equipped. That is what we need to do. But Amron, I think, is too stubborn to do that. Teddy says you ain't realising Amron's decision making is terrible. Not playing a striker, playing Bruno in the midfield, not taking him off. Plus, he doesn't play mainly. Teddy, we do realise this, mate. We absolutely do. We really do. We need to play a striker. I think if you've been on here before, my friend, we absolutely do. We said this on stream. We've been saying this for weeks. We absolutely need to play a striker. We absolutely need to take Fernandez off, and he doesn't need to play Mainoo, but I think he should play Mainoo. I think he should. I agree with you, JB, on manager. We know his results, but if he doesn't get wins, exactly. Nabalny says most top teams in Europe have fullbacks, most goals against us. You look at PSG. I think PSG play with a back four. You look at Liverpool play with a back four. Arsenal play with a back four. I think City play with a back four. Why aren't we playing with a back four? I don't get this obsession with his system. His system doesn't work. I don't mind a hybrid of his system, but his system doesn't work. And if he doesn't change his system, again, I think these players can't play the system. I'm not sure this system is right for the Premier League. How can you play a 2 in the pivot when most teams play a 3, and most teams are going to play a 3 against us because they know they're going to overload the centre midfield position, and that's it. So I don't get this obsession with his system, this obsession with his players. Most top teams, I agree with you. Good fullback. Agreed back 4. I'm still not convinced by this back 3-5, which we have said before. Like, do you think Ollie was unfairly disrespected for his time as manager, or is it just a revisionist history? I think Ollie didn't get his players. I think if Ollie had got some players, but the one thing I'll say about Ollie is 2 things. He didn't have the tactics. I think he was awful in terms of how he wanted to play, but Ollie knew how he wanted to play. You don't beat PSG away, and you don't do some of the things that he did. I thought Ollie was very naive, but I think the players destroyed him. Those players absolutely killed him. They downed tools, and they destroyed. Like, how can you finish second and be an awful manager? I just, for me, I think Ollie was disrespected by the players. The tactics wise, I just didn't think he had a lot happening. I just think that Ollie was a time period. He did well. I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased that he did well and he came. But I think he was unfairly disrespected by the players. Not necessarily the fans, but I think by the players and the ownership for not getting him some of the players that he wanted to get. So I do think slightly we look back favourably on Ollie, but I think it was his time to go, but I'm glad he was here. 3-8 won the title since Conte and been used. I agree. A back three for me. I think he needs to. I think he needs to go. If you want a back four, maybe we'll sack him. No point. It's like asking your barber to cut your garden. If you want a back four, we might as well sack him. No point. It's just like asking your barber to cut your garden. Teddy. Again, I've always been. Amorim wants to play his system, that's fine. But if you haven't got the tools for the job, it is like asking your barber to cut your garden with a spoon. Like, he doesn't have the tools for the job, so he's trying to play out a system that it doesn't work. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't be playing the system. He doesn't have the players to play the system, and he doesn't have the tools. A good coach, in my opinion, would be able to tweak that system, but he's so young and so stubborn and believes in his system too much. It's going to get him sacked. If you look at Amorim in 10 years' time, that system will not be the same. He will, as he gets older, he'll learn that system will just not be the same. So I agree with you, but it is literally like asking a barber to cut your garden with a spoon. He should have kept Collier. Collier, for me, I didn't really see him, but I don't really disagree. JB, as I trust your judgment, you've been right on almost everything. I'd be Amorim out. Niche fan, that's a big thing here, mate. What I'm going to say on Amorim is I think he needs the benefit of the doubt and more backing. But if we get to a point at Christmas and we are still in the same place, he's still picking the same players, and he's still stubborn, then that's another story. But I've got to back him. I've got to. I believe eventually he will get there, but he needs players. Playing back four, you can play three in the midfield. And Matt, Rob, I agree with you, my friend. I think that is the best way to do it. Do understand English. Well said. So guys, I am going to go. Again, another hour. Ineos, us, we favour getting us central midfield. Exactly. So I am going to go, guys. An hour's just flown by. I don't even know where this time goes. Genuinely, don't know. So I'll keep you updated on Baleba. Runnings in the chat. Amorim shifts 3-4-1-2, which helps the team in certain plays. Mainoo starts where Bruno can play as cam. Exactly what I've said. I think Bruno should play as cam. So Benjamin Tesco will flop. Thanks, Zara. You're the best. Thank you, Zara. Let's see what Benjamin Tesco can do. Let's see. So, guys, amazing chat as always. You guys are amazing. This conversation today. There's been some things mentioned about Amorim and Fernandes, and maybe he favours him because he needs him. As a comment, I think that's a brilliant comment, right? But again, we were talking about Mainoo, where we think he should play. This chat today has been amazing, and I can only thank you guys so much for being on here. I'm so fortunate to have this chat. So I will come back, guys. Like I will always say, it's really, really important to me. In life, you can't buy. You can buy many things. You can even buy friends. You can buy friends. You can buy a wife. You can buy anything that you like in life. The only thing you can't buy is time. And I think the fact you come on here when we give me your time, whether it's a minute, an hour, a second, I think it blows my mind even still. And the fact you give each other time, you talk to each other, you listen to each other's views. You don't agree, we don't agree, but we give each other that time to get what we want out. I think that is phenomenal. That's a testament to you guys. That's testament to the respect that you have for each other, and we are all pushing to the same goal. Before we go, MSO Gaming says Amorim very weak, Bruno also weak. Next 5 matches, I think out. I don't think he's going out. I don't think he's going anywhere, at least till Christmas. But I want to stick with this guy. So guys, thank you to everybody in the chat. I'd normally read all of the names out, but you guys are just, there's so many now. I don't want to miss anybody, but you all know who you are. You're all legends of this chat and this community now, and all I can say is thank you. And I will, if anything else does break, even if I leave now, something breaks, I'll come straight back on to let you guys know. I'll be surprised if Fernandez is dropped. Exactly, Rob. I agree with you. So if anything does break, we'll be back on straight away. We'll talk about it as we always do. Brian says we must stand by Amron's second manager. Brian, I'll give you the last comment because I think you're right. I think we've got to stand by him. So Josh says hi. Hello, my friend. Brian, I think you're right. I think you're spot on. I think we need to stick by this coach. There does come a point where you have to go, enough is enough. But right now, I want to stick by this coach. Not necessarily the players, but I want to stick by this coach, and I just want the best that we can get for now. So Grimsby on Wednesday. I might do a watch along tonight for Liverpool, the Liverpool game, because that's always a cracking game. And I'll see you very, very soon, guys. So take care. Have a good rest of your day, morning, afternoon. Take care. Take care of each other. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. See you later.